Acoustic envelope. Attack is the very short period of time that elapses before the sound has formed its spectrum. These successive parts of the sound are collectively referred to as the envelope. The attack spectrum of many instruments is inharmonic, noise, and its amplitude is stronger than the stationary part of the envelope, which is timbre. Amplitude, which is measured in decibels. Measurements based on psychoacoustics, such as the measurement of noise, often use a weighting filter. It is well established that human hearing is more sensitive to some frequencies than others, as demonstrated by equal loudness contours, but it is not well appreciated that these contours vary depending on the type of sound. The measured curves for pure tones, for instance, are different from those for random noise. The auditory spectrum, measured in bandwidth. Hearing range describes the range of frequencies that can be heard by humans or other animals, though it can also refer to the range of levels. The human range is commonly given as 20 to 20,000 hertz, although there is considerable variation between individuals, especially at high frequencies, and a gradual loss of sensitivity to higher frequencies with age is considered normal. Sensitivity also varies with frequency, as shown by equal loudness contours. Chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is a musical scale with 12 pitches, each a semitone above or below its adjacent pitch. As a result, in 12-tone equal temperament, the chromatic scale covers all 12 of the available pitches. Thus, there is only one chromatic scale. Waves are made up of compressions and rarefactions. Compression happens when molecules are forced or pressed together. Rarefaction is just the opposite. It occurs when molecules are given extra space and allowed to expand. Remember that sound is a type of kinetic energy. Constructive, deconstructive interference. Interference is a phenomenon in which two waves superpose to form a resultant wave of greater, lower, or the same amplitude. Constructive and deconstructive interference result from the interaction of waves that are correlated or coherent with each other, either because they come from the same source or because they have the same or nearly the same frequency. A graph of the air pressure at a certain point might look like this. The arrow indicates one cycle of the sound. The time it takes to complete a cycle is the period. Frequency is the inverse of this, the number of cycles in a second. The distance sound travels during one period is the wavelength. An audio frequency, abbreviation AF, or audible frequency, is a periodic vibration whose frequency is in the band audible to the average human. The SI unit of audio frequency is the hertz. It is the property of sound that most determines pitch. The generally accepted standard range of audible frequencies for humans is 20 to 20,000 hertz. Although the range of frequencies individuals hear is greatly influenced by environmental factors. In air atmospheric pressure, these represent sound waves with wavelengths of 17 meters or 56 feet to 1.7 centimeters or 0.67 inches. Frequencies below 20 hertz are generally felt rather than heard, assuming the amplitude of the vibration is great enough. High frequencies are the first to be affected by hearing loss due to age or prolonged exposure to very loud noises. Harmonics. A harmonic is any member of the harmonic series. The term is employed in various disciplines, including music, physics, acoustics, electronic power transmission, radio technology, and other fields. It is typically applied to repeating signals, such as sinusoidal waves. Phase. Measured in degrees. Most musical waveforms are cyclical in nature, alternating between the positive and negative parts of the cycle. You may have heard of the phrase A4 equals 440 hertz. This just means that the particular note, A, at the fourth octave, is cycling 440 times per second. By itself, phase doesn't really mean much, but when two or more waveforms interact, the relative phase between the waveforms is very important to consider, as it can lead to constructive or even deconstructive interaction. Pitch. Pitch is a perceptual property of sound that allows their ordering on a frequency-related scale, or more commonly, pitch is the quality that makes it possible to judge sounds as higher or lower in the sense associated with musical melodies. Psychoacoustics. Psychoacoustics is the scientific study of sound perception and audiology, how humans perceive various sounds. More specifically, it is the branch of science studying the psychological and physiological responses associated with sound, including noise, speech, and music. It can be further categorized as a branch of psychophysics. Psychoacoustics receives its name from a field within psychology, i.e., recognition science, which deals with all kinds of human perceptions. It is an interdisciplinary field of many areas, including psychology, acoustics, electronic engineering, physics, biology, physiology, and computer science. The human ear. The ear is the organ of hearing, and in mammals, balance. In mammals, the ear is usually described as having three parts: the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. The outer ear consists of the pinna and the ear canal. Since the outer ear is the only visible portion of the ear in most animals, the word ear often refers to the external part alone. The middle ear includes the tympanic cavity and the three ossicles. The inner ear sits in the bony labyrinth and contains structures which are key to several senses: the semicircular canals, which enable balance and eye tracking when moving, the utricle and sacral, which enable balance when stationary, and the cochlea, which enables hearing. The ears of vertebrates are placed somewhat symmetrically on either side of the head, an arrangement that aids sound localization. In music, timbre, also known as tone color or tone quality from psychoacoustics, is the perceived quality of sound of a musical note. Timbre. In music, timbre, also known as tone color or tone quality from psychoacoustics, is the perceived sound quality of a musical note, sound, or tone. Timbre distinguishes different types of sound production, such as choir voices or musical instruments. Timbre. In music, timbre, also known as tone color or tone quality from psychoacoustics, is the perceived sound quality of a musical note, sound, or tone. Timbre distinguishes different types of sound production, such as choir voices and musical instruments, such as string instruments, wind instruments, and percussion instruments. It also enables listeners to distinguish different instruments in the same category. For example, an oboe and a clarinet, both wood instruments. Velocity of sound. The speed of sound is the distance traveled per unit time by a sound wave as it propagates through an elastic medium at 20 degrees Celsius or 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The speed of sound in air is about 343 meters per second or 1,235 kilometers an hour. It depends strongly on temperature, but also varies by several meters per second, depending on which gases exist in the medium through which a sound wave is propagating. Wavelength, measured in meters. Although there are many complexities relating to the transmission of sounds, at the point of reception, i.e. the ears, sound is readily dividable into two simple elements, pressure and time. These fundamental elements form the basis of all sound waves. They can be used to describe, in absolute terms, every sound we hear. In order to understand the sound more fully, a complex wave such as the one shown in a blue background on the right in order to understand the Sound is a concept that describes the brain's perception and interpretation of a physical auditory stimulus caused by variation in air pressure. Sound is a form of energy, acoustic energy. Vibrations transmitted through an elastic medium capable of being detected by the ear. An elastic medium is a material that is capable of returning to its original position after deformation. Air is an elastic medium. Sound cannot travel without such a medium. In other words, it cannot travel in a vacuum. In physics, sound is a vibration that typically propagates as an audible wave of pressure through a transmission medium such as gas, liquid, or solid. In human physiology and psychology, sound is the reception of such waves and their perception by the brain. Humans can only hear sound waves as distinct pitches when the frequency lies between 20 Hz and 20 kHz. Sound waves above 20 kHz are known as ultrasound and is not perceptible by humans. Sound waves below 20 Hz are known as infrasound. Different animal species have varying hearing ranges.